Good evening. Tonight, we bring you a story that sits at the crossroads of economics, politics, and global strategy. A story that could shape the future of Europe and the world. At the heart of this story is a staggering figure, $660 billion. That's the estimated value of Germany's economic relationship with China. A sum that represents not just trade, but a complex web of investments, supply chains, and mutual dependencies. While Washington and Brussels urge caution and even warn of potential risks, Germany is making a bold choice, deepening its ties with the world's second-largest economy, even as global tensions simmer. This is about far more than just the exchange of goods. It's about influence, leverage, and the shifting balance of power in the 21st century. The decisions being made now could redefine the Western alliance and the global order. Germany's calculated pivot comes despite mounting warnings about the dangers of over-reliance on an authoritarian partner. Yet the lure of China's vast and rapidly growing market is proving irresistible for many German companies. The choices being made today in Berlin and Munich will not only reshape Europe's supply chains, but also its alliances, its industries, and its role on the world stage for decades to come. We'll explore how China has overtaken the United States as Germany's top trading partner and why corporate giants like Volkswagen and BASF are investing billions in China, even as political tensions and questions about values and security continue to rise. Join us as we investigate Germany's $660 billion bet on China, a gamble that could define the next era of global economics and geopolitics. To understand Germany's current position on China, we must revisit the concept of Wandel durch Handel, change through trade, a philosophy that profoundly shaped its post-Cold War foreign policy. This approach was rooted in the belief that economic engagement could be a powerful tool for encouraging political transformation. By building bridges of commerce, German leaders hoped to inspire openness and reform in China, believing that prosperity and cooperation would naturally lead to greater freedom and democracy. The hope was simple yet ambitious: that economic engagement would foster not just growth, but also political liberalization in China, gradually nudging the country toward a more open society. For a while, this strategy seemed to work. Trade between the two nations soared, fueling unprecedented prosperity on both sides. German companies thrived in the vast Chinese market, while Chinese businesses gained access to advanced technology and expertise. Germany's engineering prowess found a booming market in China, and German industry benefited from low-cost manufacturing and a steady flow of consumer goods. Factories in both countries became deeply intertwined, creating jobs and wealth. But the anticipated political change never materialized. Instead, China's political system grew more assertive and authoritarian, tightening its grip on society and expanding its global ambitions. As economic ties deepened, optimism faded. What began as partnership evolved into dependency, with China now a formidable competitor and a critical part of Germany's supply chains. In response, Germany's 2023 China strategy calls for de-risking, not decoupling, acknowledging the dangers of over-reliance, but recognizing that severing ties would be catastrophic for both economies. The old philosophy of Wandel durch Handel is gone, but a new guiding principle has yet to emerge. In this uncertain landscape, corporate interests and economic pragmatism are left to fill the vacuum, shaping the future of German-Chinese relations. Recent data shows Germany's economic integration with China is accelerating despite political warnings. In 2025, bilateral trade soared to over €163 billion, with China now Germany's top trading partner. Chinese exports to Germany are rising, while German exports to China are falling, signaling a shift in industrial competitiveness. German investment in China hit record highs, as companies see the Chinese market as essential for future growth and innovation. Meanwhile, Chinese investment in Germany, though smaller, targets strategic sectors like renewables and digitalization. This is no longer simple trade. It's a deeply intertwined financial and industrial partnership. Despite official calls for diversification, German industry is digging in deeper. The relationship is growing stronger, regardless of political anxieties in Berlin and Brussels. Nowhere is Germany's commitment to China clearer than in the strategies of its industrial giants. For decades, German companies have relied on China not just as a market, but as a vital partner in their global ambitions. Today, that relationship is being redefined in real time. For companies like Volkswagen and BASF, China is more than just a sales destination. It's the arena where their futures will be decided. The scale and speed of China's market, combined with its appetite for innovation, make it a proving ground for the next generation of industrial leaders. Volkswagen is investing billions to expand R&D in China, designing electric vehicles tailored for Chinese consumers. An admission that innovation now flows from both Wolfsburg and Shanghai. The company's future models will be shaped as much by Chinese tastes and technology as by German engineering tradition. BASF is building a €10 billion integrated site in Zhanjiang, one of the largest foreign investments in China's history. This massive project is designed to innovate and operate independently of European supply chains, giving BASF a strategic foothold in Asia's chemical industry and reducing its reliance on the West. These moves signal a profound shift, from exporting German engineering to creating Chinese-led innovation within China itself. German know-how is now being fused with Chinese speed and scale, producing new products and processes that could reshape global industries. While politicians in Berlin debate the merits of de-risking and reducing exposure, these companies argue that their very survival depends on deeper engagement with China. For them, pulling back is not an option if they want to remain competitive on the world stage. For these industrial leaders, the risk of leaving China, of losing access to its markets, talent, and innovation, far outweighs the geopolitical risks of staying. The stakes are nothing less than their global relevance. This growing divergence between corporate strategy and national policy is pulling Germany in two directions, creating tension between economic opportunity and political caution. At the heart of Germany's dilemma lies a fundamental question: should economic logic or political caution guide the future? The answer will shape not just German industry, but the country's role in a changing world. The German government is caught between economic pressures from industry and geopolitical demands from Western allies. Its 2023 China strategy calls for de-risking, not decoupling, but this nuanced stance is hard to maintain. Industry sees the rejection of decoupling as a green light to expand in China, undermining Berlin's credibility. This complicates Germany's relationships within the EU and NATO, as Washington pushes for a tougher stance on Beijing. Germany's deepening ties are seen by some allies as prioritizing profit over collective security. Chancellor Merz's upcoming visit to China will be closely watched for signs of where Germany's true priorities lie. The challenge Project Unity with the West while keeping Germany's economic engine running. Germany's economic relationship with China reverberates across the EU, complicating efforts to present a unified front. While Brussels pursues tougher policies on China, Germany's actions often prioritize national interests, fueling perceptions of a divided Europe. EU-wide measures like tariffs on Chinese EVs and the carbon border adjustment mechanism are undermined if Germany deepens its own ties with China. Smaller EU states look to Berlin for leadership, but see mixed signals as German corporations invest billions in China. This weakens the EU's bargaining power and risks allowing Beijing to divide the bloc. Germany's pivot forces a hard question: is the EU a true political union, or just a single market where national interests prevail? The contradiction threatens the cohesion and strategic autonomy of Europe. The debate in Germany pits security analysts against business leaders. Think tanks warn that overexposure to China is a strategic vulnerability, citing the lesson of Germany's past dependence on Russian gas. They argue that a crisis, like conflict over Taiwan, could see Beijing weaponize economic ties, plunging Germany into recession. Business leaders counter that China is indispensable. Nearly a third of some companies' sales are there. For them, decoupling is a fantasy that would destroy jobs and prosperity. They argue that engagement, not isolation, is the only viable path, maintaining influence and communication. The central tension: strategic risk versus commercial reality. No easy resolution is in sight. The Germany-China partnership is evolving into new strategic domains, especially green technology. Both nations see themselves as leaders in the energy transition, collaborating on green hydrogen, advanced batteries, and smart grids. German engineering combines with Chinese manufacturing to drive down costs and accelerate adoption of clean tech. This isn't just about exports, it's about co-developing global solutions. Cooperation is also deepening in high-tech manufacturing, automation, and healthcare, embedding German technology at the core of Chinese industry. These new avenues offer promise, but also deepen entanglement and raise the stakes of any fallout. The relationship is more complex and riskier than ever. We return to the $660 billion question, a defining choice for Germany and Europe. Germany is betting that deep engagement with China will secure prosperity and innovation, even as the West turns toward confrontation. If business leaders are right, Germany will thrive, balancing economic rewards with geopolitical risks. If the voices of caution are correct, over-reliance on China could become Germany's Achilles heel, with catastrophic consequences in a crisis. The decisions made now will determine whether this is a masterstroke of statecraft or a strategic blunder. The world is watching to see how Germany's bet plays out. The story is far from over. Good night.